Video 48, Percents and Fractions and Percents and Proportions. All right, let's start by learning about what a percent means. Percent means per hundred. It's a ratio whose denominator is 100. So we've learned about ratios already. All right, so let's look at this example. This is a square with 100 sections. If we look here, we have 10, 20, 24 of the sections are shaded. So we have 24 out of 100. Okay, so this would be a ratio of the number of squares out of 100. And we can write this as a percent. Because it's over 100, I can write 24%. So this is what a percent is. Ratio over 100. Right? Let's look at these. Sometimes you want to take a percent and turn it into a fraction. Right? Again, a percent is per 100. So 17% would be 17 over 100. Now we can't simplify this one, so we're going to leave it as it is. Just be 17 over 100. All right, let's look at the next one. 20. 20 over 100. So this is 20%. This one can be reduced. I can divide both the top and bottom of this fraction to simplify it by 20. 20 goes into 20 one time, and 20 goes into 100 5 times. So in simplest form, this would be 1/5, or 20%. Okay, here's another one. Only this time I'm starting with a fraction and I want to turn it into a percent. So I've got 16 over 50. Now I want it per 100. Well, it's easy to turn 50 into 100. I'm just going to multiply it by 2. I need to do this to both the top and bottom, and I get 32 over 100. Now it's per 100, so I can write it as 32%. Okay, now that we've learned about percents, what a percent is, and how to convert a fraction to a percent, let's look at some examples of how to find a percent of a number. Now whenever you see the word of, we're talking about multiplication. So I'm trying to find 50% of 24. Well, remember, this is like 50 over 100 times 24. All right. Well, 50 over 100, I know I can simplify to 1/2. So what would be 1/2 of 24? Well, if I multiply this out, I get 24. 1 times 24 is 24, and 2 times 1 is 2, or 12. So 50% of 24 is 12. Let's look at another one. Again, if I translate this, 25% of 12 is like 25 times 12. First, I need to convert my percent into a fraction. So 25 over 100. Again, if you look at this, 25 over 100 is 1/4, if I simplify it, times 12. Okay, let's multiply across. 1 times 12 equals 12. 4 times 1 is 4, which means that this is 3. So 25% of 12, or 1/4 of 12, is 3. So that's how I can go about finding the percent of a number. All right? Let's learn about the percent proportion. All right? A percent proportion is a way to find the percent of a number. All right? So let's start with A over B equals P over 100. Again, we talked about how a percent is of 100, so that's where the P over 100 comes from. All right? It says where A is the part, B is the whole, and P% or P over 100 is the percent. So let's look at an example of this. Here's a story problem. I have 40 books on the bookshelf. 16 of the books are comic books. What percent of the books on the bookshelf are comic books? All right, let's think about that, okay? We said B was the whole, A was the part, and P was the percent, okay? In this problem, there are 40 books, so that's going to be my whole, 40 books. That's the total number of books, okay? 16 of those, or a part of those books, happen to be comic books. So there's my part. And what percent of the books? This is the part we don't know. We don't know what the percent is, okay? So we're going to call this P. All right, let's use our percent proportion here. So if I take A over B equals P over 100, I can substitute, okay? So I know my whole is B, so I'm going to put 40 in the bottom. My part is A. I'm going to put 16 on the top. And that's going to equal whatever the P percent of 100 is, okay? Now it says use cross multiplication. So I'm going to use cross multiplication here like we learned in the last unit. And I have 16 times 100 equals 40 times P. Alright, if I multiply this out, 16 times 100 equals 1600, or 1600 equals 40 P. Alright, I can divide both sides of this by 40. Alright, that cancels this out, and I'm left with P on this side. And 40 goes into 1600 40 times. So P equals 40, or 40% of the books on the shelf were comic books. Okay, let's look at another one. 70 is 40% of what number? Okay, well, 70 is, or A is, 40% of B. So now I need to find out what 40% of B. So I'm going to use 70 for A. I don't know what B is. And that's going to equal 40 over 100. Okay, so let's use cross multiplication again to solve this. And I get 70 times 100 equals 40B. Alright, so that's 7,000 equals 40B. If I divide both sides by 40, okay, that's going to give me B equals 175. So the whole was 175, the part was 70, and the percent was 40.